What's up, Taiwan? I'm Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Industrial leaders are pushing the government to reverse their plans to phase out nuclear power entirely. And as John Van Trieste reports, they're taking their concerns all the way to the top.
With less than 2 weeks until he takes office, Taiwan's president-elect Liao meets industry and business leaders. And they're not shy about telling him what they want: for the country to continue to use nuclear power. Li's Democratic Progressive Party has pledged a nuclear-free homeland, and the original plan was to phase it out entirely by next year. But this industry group that represents a majority of Taiwan's manufacturers says it's time to reconsider.
核能绝对是一个干净，而且没有污染，经济上来讲呢是成本最低，所以我也建议政府要考虑。
包括最基本的，我们对核能除役啦这些事情、研议这些事情，或者整个对这个能源政策重新检讨，我觉得是一个非常好的时间。
Lai didn't respond to these requests directly, but the government of outgoing President Taoyuan, also of the Democratic Progressive Party, says that if there's to be a change in policy, there would be a lot of issues to address.
立法院有在讨论这个核电严厉的问题，需要有法治、 程序、技术、财务以及社会共识，需要更充分的讨论。
These aren't the first voices from the business world calling for an about-turn on nuclear power. The chair of electronics giant Pegatron renewed debate on the issue with recent remarks. And repeated blackouts in northern Taiwan and the approach of summer, the season of peak electricity demand, are bringing public attention to the issue as well. As the president-elect prepares to take power, one of his first tasks will be to make sure the country has enough power for the taking. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A major power outage hit the northern city of Taoyuan on Tuesday, just after Taiwan Power Company announced new inspection and support plans there.
69 kV 的输电线，那它是遭民间的升空车碰触。 造成整个线路的断裂，停了大概11545户，那在14点22分全数复电。
Though this case may have been an accident, Taoyuan has seen as many as 20 power outages in the past 2 weeks. It's raised concerns about the stability of the electricity supply. Taipower says its plan will deploy technicians from neighboring districts to inspect lines and equipment in the city. Taiwan's military is gearing up to perform a range of honors at the upcoming presidential inauguration. For the latest rehearsal, soldiers in New Taipei wheeled out the big guns. Jaime Ocon was there.
With less than 2 weeks to go until President-elect Liao takes office on May 20th, soldiers at this army base in New Taipei City are rehearsing one of the oldest military traditions, the 21-gun salute. This ceremony, which has been around since the 14th century, is the highest military honors a country can give. It's usually performed to pay tribute to foreign leaders, the national flag, or the president. The military here is letting the media get a preview of the ceremony, and the leader of the event says the hardest part is the pressure of representing her country.
我们在军礼勤务上，我们会因为我们代表国家的门面，所以在训练上我会更加苛刻，跟以更高姿态的标准来训练。 我觉得最难的是，我必须要很专注的投入在其中，因为我必须要掌握场上所有突发的状况。
The exercises on display today are just to rehearse the movements and don't use real ammunition. Part of the drills also incorporate thick jackets to practice staying focused even in hot temperatures. After all the steps have been memorized, the military will then incorporate the cannons, which will be in sync with the beat of the drum during the national anthem. Taiwan's military only has one chance to perform this highest of military honors for President-elect Liao, and it's hoping that in the next 2 weeks it can get all the steps right to demonstrate its discipline. Devin Tsai and Jaime Ocon in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's military says a soldier has been injured after a sudden explosion during an exercise in northern Hsinchu County. The soldier was operating a training explosive when it went off unexpectedly, triggering an additional explosion from a grenade he was carrying. The soldier suffered cuts on his hand and burns to his torso and was rushed to hospital immediately. The military says it is investigating the cause of the incident and will strengthen training safety measures to prevent similar incidents from happening again. In July last year, a similar incident with a mortar grenade injured 9 people during military exercises. The central city of Taichung now leads the country in severe bicycle accidents. The disturbing data has road safety advocates calling for some important changes. John Van Trieste has more.
Taiwan's central city Taichung has an extensive network of public bike stations, but cycling here can be dangerous. Last year, the city, with a population roughly that of Chicago, saw close to 3,500 cycling accidents ending in injury. There were also 22 cycling deaths. The number of accidents last year was more than double the number in Taipei. Some of the city cyclists aren't surprised.
会很害怕，对啊，所以有时候会不小心骑去人行道上面，因为就是怕跟摩托车会太靠近。
自己的小孩的话，我就几乎不让他骑在就是有一般马路上，就是有专用道的才会让他骑。
Cycling lanes here are scattered and not always respected. Cyclists say they are mostly left to contend with other traffic on the road. Traffic safety advocates also point to the city's many unusually shaped intersections. They have some concrete advice for officials.
透过这个车道瘦身的机会，来顺便修饰路型，让路口变得相对较正交，对交通安全应该是有改善的效果。
The city says it's taking note of the traffic safety problem.
将配合市府各相关单位进行道路整体环境改善与检讨时并同研议。
But without clear measures, cyclists in Taichung will continue to face dangers on the road. Delphine Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Repairs to the newest line in Taipei's metro system are set to cost upwards of $12 million. Many parts of the unfinished circular line in New Taipei City were damaged by last month's massive earthquake, and it's raised questions about infrastructure resilience in the capital. Sally Jensen has more.
Waiting for the bus. Commuters on the outskirts of Taiwan's capital, Taipei, are having to find alternative transport to get from A to B, as their usual metro line is not running after a huge earthquake damaged it in April.
上班的族群他们会觉得比较麻烦，因为上班时间人潮比较多。那我大概都这个时候，我觉得离峰还好，对，人潮不是很多。
捷运的速度跟公车速度差不多，对，所以是还好，因为是短距离的。
Last month, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake struck Taiwan's east coast, causing damage so widespread it reached New Taipei City 160 kilometers away, damaging the city's newest line, known as the Circular or Yellow Line, which is still under construction. Passengers on the route escaped unharmed, and some sections reopened within days of the quake. But on others, some stations remain completely closed. The city government says due to the extent of the damage sustained, repairs on the 4-kilometer section between Banqiao and Zhonghe stations could take over a year and an additional $12.3 million before it can be fully operational.
新北市面对环状线，因为在短时间不可能立即恢复通车，我们必须在修完以后测试安全的意义。
But some city councillors are now questioning the line's design, as it's supposed to be able to withstand even stronger tremors. It's raised questions about the resilience of Taipei's transit system in the face of natural disasters. But transport experts say the city's transit infrastructure conforms with strict government codes.
I personally believe that's not because of poor construction or design, because design is already follow the government standards. I expect in the future that the design protocol or standards maybe should be modified to higher magnitude of earthquake.
While awaiting repairs, commuters who normally rely on this line are being offered a free replacement bus service. But with earthquakes and typhoons common here, many will want further reassurance that the rest of the circular line is built with safety as a priority. Easton Chen and Sally Jensen in New Taipei City for TaiwanPlus.
Shoppers in Taiwan can breathe a sigh of relief after inflation in April reached a seasonally adjusted 9-month low. Taiwan's consumer price index grew 1.95% last month compared to April last year. That's despite recent hikes in electricity prices of around 11% and higher prices for eating out and rents. However, prices on important daily goods decreased for the first time in 4 years. Taiwan's Statistics Office says it may take more time to see the full impact of the electricity fee raises and will continue to monitor inflation closely over the next several months. A Hong Kong appeals court has approved a ban on a song closely tied to pro-democracy protests that erupted in the city in 2019. The court ruled in favor of the government's wish to ban the song Glory to Hong Kong, saying it was necessary to get problematic videos removed from online platforms. The decision overturns a lower court's verdict that the ban infringed on freedom of speech. In 2019, Hong Kong protesters clashed with police over the introduction of a controversial extradition bill. The protests became the largest demonstration in the city's history, with millions taking to the streets. Veterinarians in Taiwan have rescued 2 of the country's endangered eastern grass owls. Our reporter Wesley Lewis looks at efforts to conserve the animals.
A rare sighting, affectionately known as aerial elves, Taiwan's endangered eastern grass owls are fighting for survival. This juvenile owl was found on the side of a road with a fractured leg. Veterinarians inserted a bone splint to treat the injury, then gave it regular physical therapy, which requires putting the bird under.
如果在没有麻醉的情况下帮他做复健的话，他很容易会因为痛然后就反抗，然后这样会蛮容易受伤的。然后如果麻醉下来的话，就是可以好好帮他热敷，然后让肌肉放松，就是他伸展会比较可以伸展到位。
There are fewer than 500 eastern grass owls left in the wild in Taiwan. They face many existential threats, including anti-bird nets near farms and airports, poisoned rats, habitat destruction, and stray dogs. And conservationists have their work cut out for them.
从草鸮遇到的威胁的这些种类来看，其实就可以知道说，要做草鸮的保育是一件非常不容易的事情。它有非常多层面的，可能跟农业相关的，然后也有可能跟开发工业经济相关。
A second mature grass owl was also recently brought to the veterinary clinic with a weak immune system, but it scraped its eye and injured itself when scared by the noise and lights.
主要就是一开始来太虚弱了，就是每天都想说会不会死掉，然后现在比较麻烦的是太激动了，因为就是可能有一点声响干嘛，它就在里面蹦蹦跳，然后容易撞到自己又受伤。
The veterinarians were able to treat the eye by extracting the owl's blood to make platelet-rich plasma, also known as PRP. After a few drops of PRP, the veterinarians stitched up the owl's eye.
就是它溃疡的地方，我们会把它缝起来，就是让它眼皮暂时不要打开，让它去保持里面的湿润度，然后可以比较促进愈合。
Conservationists and veterinarians are working together to protect these precious birds. They have been urging local farmers to not encroach on eastern grass owl habitats. For now, these 2 avian patients are being prepared for re-release, and hopefully soon, they can return to the wild. Joseph Wu and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
4 Formosan black bear nests have been spotted in central Taiwan. Researchers found the nests while conducting fieldwork in Daxueshan National Park. They're woven out of broken tree branches and are extremely rare. The researchers say it's possible the bears built them to easily access acorns. The endangered Formosan black bear is endemic to Taiwan and is the only bear species in the world to make nests. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we sign off, take a look at this mosque reopening in Istanbul. It was converted from an ancient Orthodox church and is decorated with 14th century frescoes of the Last Judgment. I'm Liao. Take care and see you next time.